How to be a present parent in spite of a crazy work schedule. One big obstacle that we often face as parents, especially immigrant parents, is finding a balance between providing for our family and the very important task of being a present parent. In this video, I'll be sharing with you some of the things that I've done in the past decade to ensure that I'm actively involved in my son's life and playing my part as a parent despite my crazy work schedule. See, it hardly matters whether you're working full-time, part-time, on-site, remotely, running businesses, or any combination of this. The fact is, being present for your children can be very challenging. But the great news is, it's not impossible. With some strategic planning and the right mindset, you can excel all around. So without further delay, let's get started. Before we dive into any of these strategies that I intend to share with you, I think it's important to first acknowledge that parenting in this day and age is a different ball game from when our parents were raising us, especially back in Africa. And that's because we have a lot more to contend with. For example, there is technology, societal expectations, and different work dynamics. All these aspects of our lives have evolved over the years, making it essential to adapt our approach to parenting. Talking about technology, it is one of the biggest issues parents have to deal with presently. This digital age has revolutionized everything from how we connect to how we work and how we parent. We have smartphones, tablets, and the internet everywhere you turn to, which of course are great tools, but of course they have their own downside. While these technologies offer incredible benefits, they also present new challenges such as screen time management, social media influence and distractions, online bullying and grooming, as well as the need to monitor what our children have access to while online. For example, a study by Common Sense Media found that the average teenager spent about 7 hours and 22 minutes on their phone each day. Can you imagine that? What this shift means is that as parents, we need to find ways to manage being there to exact boundaries while we fulfill the demands of our work lives as well. Then, there's the aspect of societal expectations. We now have greater emphasis on work-life balance, mental health, and the active involvement of both parents in child rearing. Also, the pressure to excel in our careers while being present parent is higher than ever. And this is even more pronounced for those of us who are immigrants. We leave everything behind just so we can give our children better opportunities than we had. But as an immigrant, there's the fact that you most likely won't have access to the best jobs in the first few years of your arrival. And as a result, you may have to work multiple shifts to make enough money to care for your family, which invariably means you'll be away from that same family you're trying to provide for most of the time. And then we have the possibility of you missing out on very important moments in your children's life. For immigrant parents, especially those of us from Africa, a lot of us also nurse fears about raising our children in a culture different from the one we grew up in. I remember growing up and hearing stories about families who relocate abroad to find greener pastures, only for their kids to grow up and turn out bad-mannered, disrespectful, or even addicted to one vice or the other. While this may not be the case for everyone, narratives like this tend to give us some amount of concern. So, with this at the back of our mind, we try our best to not fall among the statistics. But that is a lot of work too. For instance, according to a Pew Research Center study, 56% of working parents say that balancing work and family responsibilities is difficult. Apart from society's expectation, we also want to be deeply involved in our children's education, extracurricular activities, and emotional well-being. And what this means is that we need to find creative ways to meet these expectations without sacrificing our own well-being. And I also mentioned the different work dynamics. Yes, we do enjoy more flexibility with work, with the rise of remote job opportunities and the gig economic jobs. But the demand for constant availability has reshaped how we work. A report by Flex Jobs found that 65% of workers now want to continue working remotely post-pandemic. Why? They're citing better work-life balance as a key reason. However, the blurring of boundaries between work and home life can make it harder to switch off and be present for your family. But it's not all bad news. Just like me, many immigrant parents are gradually learning to establish routines that allow them to maximize their time for work, family, and parenting. Because without these routines, it's very easy for our lives to go out of balance. And we don't want that, do we? Of course not. Studies have even shown that immigrant parents are more likely to work in demanding jobs with irregular hours. So it's even more crucial for you to develop strategies to ensure that you can be there for your children while trying to make ends meet. Now, let's talk about some practical strategies to be a present parent despite a hectic work schedule. Number one here is prioritize quality over quantity. When I talk to people about how I'm able to maintain a full work life and fulfill my duties as a father, I always emphasize that it's not always about how much time you spend, but how you spend it. Your focus should be on creating meaningful interactions with your children. But am I saying you should not look for ways to spend more time with your kids? Not at all. In fact, every opportunity you get, be there. Let them feel your impact and your presence, because there is a difference between those two. Okay, by making sure their needs are met and they don't lack anything, that is your impact right there. But your presence demands that you show up, see them, and be seen by them. Let them see you, whether to play at important events in their lives or just spending time hanging out with them. And that's how you form bonds with your children. It's really not rocket science, but it takes dedication and effort as well. According to the American Academy of Pediatrics, activities like reading together, playing, or even cooking can significantly strengthen the parent-child bond. For instance, you can set aside 20 minutes each night to read a story with your child. This not only improves their literacy skills, but also creates a rightly ritual they can look forward to. My second strategy is to use technology wisely. Like I said earlier, technology can be a two-edged sword in the home if not used wisely. While we want to make sure we have control over how our kids interact with technology, it can be a great tool to stay connected with your kids. Video calls, messaging apps, and even shared digital calendars can help you stay involved in their daily lives, even when you are not physically present. For example, if you're traveling for work, schedule a daily video call to check in. You can also share photos and updates through family chat groups to keep the communication flowing. As a parent, it is also your duty to help your children learn how to use technology responsibly, especially when you are not there. And the amazing thing is, children learn from what we do better than what we say. So model what you want them to be, showing them the importance of staying connected even while away from home. Third on my list is scheduling family time. Just like you schedule work meetings, schedule dedicated family time. Make it a non-negotiable part of your routine. And this is very important for any family, but most especially immigrant families. Family time can help you discover a lot about your kids that you may not even find out otherwise. A friend of mine once told me about how during the family time, one of his kids opened up about how some other kids at school would make fun of his accent. As a result, he became very reclusive. And prior to that time, his teacher at school had mentioned that he hardly interacts with other kids. But my friend and wife thought he would socialize more with time since he was a lively child at home. Fortunately, that particular family time was spent talking about how important it was to share with the family any challenges they were facing at school. So that was how they got to know where the problem was coming from. As a matter of fact, family time doesn't have to involve anything grand or expensive. It could be a weekly family game night, a Sunday picnic, or a Saturday morning hike. And research from the American Psychological Association even shows that regular family activities contribute to a stronger emotional bonds and better overall family health. The next strategy that has helped me be more present in the lives of my son is delegating and outsourcing. Look, don't be afraid to delegate tasks at work and outsource household chores. Depending on how you run things in your home, outsourcing might be your responsibility as the woman, but it could also be a joint decision if that's what works for you. But the point is, delegating and outsourcing can free up valuable time that you can spend with your family. Paying for services like grocery delivery, cleaning, or even meal prep can make a huge difference. Trust me on that. Like, this is what I do like every day. How much does that time cost to spend with your family? We do it all the time in our home, and over time I've seen how it has helped us grow closer as a unit. Because to me, it's like buying back your time so that you can spend it with the people you care about and the people you love the most. On the other hand, at work, you can try delegating tasks to trusted colleagues or team members. Of course, this should only be for very important times that you need to be there for your kids or family. At the end of the day, everybody else also have their own families to get home to. You know what I mean? So if you need to pay someone to get a chore done, do it. Believe me, it is worth it in the long run. And when you have learned to delegate and outsource, you have the free time. Make sure you are fully present. That's number 5 point on my list. When you're with your family, be fully present. This means put away your phone, shutting off work emails if you have to, and focusing entirely on your loved ones, because honestly, quality time is more impactful when you are not distracted. For example, during dinner, you can make it a rule that everyone leaves their devices in another room. Then you use that time to talk about your day, share stories, and connect. Honestly, if you don't make the effort to do all these things, before you know it, your kids are all grown up and out of the house, and you would have missed many opportunities to get close enough to them and become their friends as adults. And finally, involve your kids in your work. This is not even as difficult as it sounds. Depending on the kind of work you do, you can find the right way to make your kids get involved in what you do. It can be as simple as explaining what you do and why it's important. For example, my son is super fascinated by my line of work. In his mind, his dad is a kind of superhero, and I'm not. That's because I have told him stories appropriate for his age about what I do and how it helps keep people and organizations safe. I have also found that sharing this with him has helped him understand my commitment and feel included. Do you know this is also helpful to them, that it helps build them to show responsibility and learn to take responsibility and even work. So when I'm not there, he knows daddy is doing something very important too. Sometimes when I'm working from home, I let him sit with me for a short period and explain what I'm doing. If in your case it's not a problem to take your kids to your workplace for a visit, why not? Try it. Kids never forget things like that. They never do. Now that I've addressed the broader scope of parenting, let's address a unique aspect for immigrant parents: balancing cultural expectations. It's not unusual for immigrant families to face challenges trying to blend their native culture with the culture of their new country, or balancing traditional values with modern practices. I know firsthand that this can add another layer of complexity to parenting. So here is what you can do. Embrace your cultural heritage. Share your cultural heritage with your children. This can be through language, traditions, food, and stories. It helps them appreciate their family roots and strengthen the family bond. And the earlier you start this, the easier it is for them to catch up. For example, you can cook traditional meals together, celebrate cultural festivals, and tell stories from your home country. At the end of the day, you would have succeeded in not only preserving your heritage, but also taking advantage of a unique bonding experience. Then, the next thing to do is navigate cultural differences. Teach your children how to navigate cultural differences. This includes understanding how respecting both their heritage and the culture they are growing up in. See, it is very important to have open discussions about identity and belonging, because a lot of our kids are struggling and many of us are not even aware. We need to create avenues for them to freely talk to us, especially those that are already a bit grown before relocating. Ask them how they are coping. Academically, are they socializing as they should? What are the differences that they've noticed between your home country and your new settlement? Questions like this will give you the opportunity to discuss the differences in customs and traditions openly. And also, you can encourage your children to embrace diversity as much as you know is appropriate, and teach them to be proud of their unique identity. Finally, seek support and resources. It's a long journey ahead, and any help you can get will go a long way. There are numerous community organizations, online forums, and support groups for immigrant families, and they can provide valuable advice, resources, and a sense of community. According to the National Immigration Forum, connecting with community resources can significantly reduce the stress and isolation often felt by immigrant families, especially if you're new and have no friends or family around. In essence, you don't have to do this all alone. So guys, from all that I've said, balancing a work schedule and parenting is challenging, but it's definitely achievable and rewarding in the end. I hope you've learned something valuable today. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more awesome content like this one. Also, don't forget to hit the bell icon to get notified whenever we post new content, and feel free to leave any questions or tips of your own in the comment below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.